as announced. Minutes of the meeting are being recorded, therefore anyone wishing to conduct business will be asked to come to the microphone, provide their name, address, present their request or concern, answer any questions of the Planning Commission. Groups are requested to select spokespersons to express the group's concern. Because each side will be allowed 10 minutes to speak. Plats, rezoning, revised master plans, street renamings require a public hearing, after which the Planning Commission will deliberate and render its decision. Development plans require a public hearing to provide the public an opportunity to express opinions. However, a vote by the Planning Commission shall not be taken. Planning Commission members with a personal or financial interest in any petitioner's request are required to recuse themselves. If a motion to deny a request is made, a reason must be given. Members of the Planning Commission: Leslie Stone, Ann Clemens, Reggie Dunn, Buddy Hardwick, Reginald Hawkins, Cruz Reeves, James Reed. Staff members: Warren Adams, Tanya Ingram, Robert Smith, and Carol Ann Pinkston. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the November 14th, 2024 meeting?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No, sir.
Item number 1, presented by Goodwyn, Mills and Cawood, representing Mullinax Automotive. Request final approval for Mullinax Automotive Group Hyundai dealership, Plat number 1, located on the northwest corner of Carmichael Road and Woods Crossing in a B2 commercial zoning district.
My name is Judy Jones with Goodwyn, Mills and Cawood, and we are requesting this one lot survey for a new Hyundai dealership.
Are you the majority of the folks here in order
Looks
to make
like
this?
Are there any questions from the Planning Commission? Any questions from the audience? We have motions in order.
Motion to approve.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Item number 2, text amendment presented by Land Use Division representing City of Montgomery. Request recommendation for approval of a text amendment to Appendix C, zoning, Article 6, general provisions, Section 10.14.2, SmartCode, Article 9, definition of terms of the Code of Ordinances.
Good evening. As this item explains, we are adding a definition to SmartCode, and this is a definition for public art. I can read the definition into the record if you wish, but this is something that was not included in SmartCode and is something that's starting to come up. So we felt it prudent to actually put a definition into SmartCode for public art. The item has been reviewed by legal, and this is what we have come up with.
I don't think we ever got your name.
Warren Adams, Land Use Control Administrator.
Thank you.
Warren, I wasn't able to make it last time. I've had conversations with our attorney and also with Robert and expressed my opinion, but I just think this is a little bit unreasonable to have 0 people here and the guy up there that's wanting a vote saying.
Mr. Hardwick, that's the next one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
Got ahead of us.
Sorry, that's the next one.
Are there any questions from the Planning Commission? Any questions from the audience? Motion's in order.
I don't know what the hell we're voting on.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
7.
All those opposed?
I don't know what we're voting on, so
Oh.
I'm voting against it.
For the public art, so that's 6-2. Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right,
The second text amendment.
now,
Item number 3, bylaw amendments presented by the Land Use Division representing the City of Montgomery. Request approval of amendments to the bylaws of the City of Montgomery, Alabama Planning Commission.
We did have this item at the last meeting, and this is a proposal to amend the bylaws of the Planning Commission. There are 3 main areas where we are requesting these amendments. The first one is to update the details of the Planning Commission members and the Executive Secretary. The second is to amend the voting procedures to allow a simple majority of those members present and eligible to vote to pass a motion rather than the current requirement of 5 members. And the third item is minor corrections to the existing bylaws. So I can take any comments or questions, but let me just clarify there are 3 separate requests here. At the last meeting, the motion to approve did not pass. I believe at the very least we should be updating the details of the Planning Commission and we should be making the minor corrections. So, regardless of whether you agree with item number 2 or whether you don't, I certainly believe that items 1 and 3 should be approved simply to make things correct. I would also urge you to approve item 2 because this really is for the, as we see it, for the benefit of the applicants. But again, it is your decision and you have the final say in this. This does not go to council or anything.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a comment. Didn't we vote on this last meeting?
We did, yes.
Isn't there a rule or guideline that has to wait a certain period of time before it comes back on the agenda?
No, not this. I checked with legal at the last meeting.
Well, we've had things in the past that didn't pass the vote.
As it stands at the moment, it is incorrect. The board members are incorrect. The number of members on the committee are incorrect. The wording regarding development plans is incorrect. So the reason it's been brought back is because, as I said, there are 3 specific requests here. At the very least, I think you should be approving that the bylaws are correct with the current code and the current board members.
Well, I beg to differ.
So basically, having the incorrect commission members on the front of the bylaws is a good thing. Having the bylaws stating that the planning commission make a decision on development plans is a good thing. There are things in here that do need to be changed.
Well, again, I'm back to my 0 comment. 0 people here to vote, and the person that's trying to get the vote over there, if that's an automatic no. So, because there's no way to. Now, how many times is it going to be 0 here? Probably never.
Mr. Howard, we can't even hold a meeting unless we have at least a quorum, which is 5. If we have less than 5, we can't even hold a meeting.
Well, why don't we say that in here? That's not the way I read it. I read it that you could have 3, and
no.
That's all I was asking, because that's where I am. I don't have a problem with 5 and 3. I got a problem with, everything I read said of the voting of at least a majority of the voting members. Well, present, yeah, which means you can have 3 folks here, and if 2 of them voted for it, it passes. If 2 of them voted against it, it fails. I think you ought to have, like I said, the minimum of 5, and if y'all are telling me, then put it in there and say you got to have a minimum of 5.
So Mr. Hardwood, over here to your right. So the minimum that you have to have the minimum members that you have to have in order to conduct a meeting is 5.
I
Now,
got you, but it doesn't
simple
say that.
majority is what we're talking about, which is what Robert's Rules of Order allows, which would be 3, let's just say you approve something. You can approve or deny something with a simple majority of 3 people out of the 5. But you have to have 5 in order
I
to.
don't have a problem with that part.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have a problem with that
Mr.
part.
Hardwick, speak in your mic so we can record it.
I don't have a problem with that part. What I do is, when I read through these things, all I'm reading is a majority. Now, I know what you're telling me. You're telling me that rule or whatever overrides anything that's in here about having to have a minimum of 5 folks to even take a vote.
Section 3C, quorum, 5 members of the 9-member commission shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business. Whenever a quorum is not present at a regular or special meeting, no action taken at such meeting shall be final. So you need 5 before you can.
Gotcha. Why don't you put it in here?
It's
No,
in
it-
here. Section 3C.
Yeah, so Mr. Hardwick, go to page number 2,
All right?
and we're at section 3, meetings.
Section 3 on 2.
Yeah,
Section-
Oh, here,
section
I'm sorry,
3,
I'm
section 3 on page 2,
Yep,
letter C.
gotcha.
So it
Quorum.
says quorum.
5 members constitute a quorum.
So it says 5 members, so it says quorum, 5 members of the 9-member commission shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business and taking of official action.
Well, why don't you put it in these others that y'all have changed? Just make it redundant. There's no question about that the vote of a majority of people. I understand what you're telling me.
Yes, sir.
You got to have 5 to even vote.
Yes.
And out of that 5, 3 is going to be able to make the decision.
Yes.
So you can't ever have 1 here and that, you know.
Right.
I got that.
So I guess the misunderstanding may be where we say simple majority, in which simple majority would mean a majority of the 5 members, which would be 3 in this case.
I guess it's my old legal self. My problem is that these pages are going to be taken apart at some point in time, and somebody's going to say, you got to have, a majority is 3, if there's 3 people here. And I want you to have, if you say it in the same lines that what my language was, again, just chicken scratching, but it was with no less than 5 voting members.
But
Do it the way y'all want to do it. You got the 3 out of 5. If I ever hear somebody question it because it's not in these other things that are these other articles or amendments, then I'm gonna say I told you so. I mean, it don't take any time. Just that's what you're telling them.
I'm happy to amend these in any way you want, because you have the final say in these. This does not go to council for final approval. These are your bylaws. So we can make any amendments that you recommend.
All right, well, that's just my suggestion. I know I try to overkill. I do. I know that. I've always done that. But anyway, that's the way I do it. But I am not against the 5-3. I am not against that, as long as you can guarantee us, which you ought to put that in here too. Yeah, we guarantee.
I'll ask legal, is this legally sufficient to support the,
As long as it's in there.
That's a
It
that's
may
a
not
simple
be.
fix. That is a simple fix that we can make,
Yeah,
if that's what your desire
I
is.
mean, I'm just saying that's, to me, it's overkill. But
But just do know that when we say simple majority, that's exactly what we mean.
It's 3 out of 5.
And that's what that would be interpreted as, and you can ask the lawyer right here.
I'd be happy. Listen, you know what I debate lawyers. I don't.
Right.
And again, it could be 3 out of 5, it could be 4 out of 7, it could be, you know, it would work in both of those
Right.
cases.
Well, it worked. You know, again, I have no problem with that. I just thought the putting it in the language that you had was just as was simple, and it was an easy add.
That's fine.
There was no if and buts about it, that you gotta have a minimum of 5, period, in the sentence, even though it's in there.
Mr. Hardworth, would you be more comfortable with it, instead of it saying simply majority of the members that are present, it's simply saying simple majority of the quorum that's present? I mean, because you have to have that quorum. If only 4 people are here, you can't do anything. You can't
That's right.
vote, nothing.
That's right.
You can't have
It's in the same, you know, position in the bylaws as the voting requirement. So basically, we're saying you have to have a quorum. 2, a majority of that quorum is what can vote. And the way it's written, it is legally sufficient, but we could change, instead of it saying simple majority of members, we can say
Well, voting members.
majority of the quorum.
I like that term, voting members. I don't know anybody's not a voting member, but
right.
but-
All 9 are voting members.
yeah. But I don't have. I just, again, if it's in the language of, I mean, you're saying it in black and red, and I know it's gonna change when it's gonna all be black, but it's still a minimum of the voting members that's present at that time, with a minimum of 5.
Correct, to conduct a meeting
Yeah.
and take action, yes,
Take
sir.
a vote.
To take a vote.
All right, that's my 3 cents.
That's a good 3 cents.
Mr. Adams,
Yes.
on number 3, minor corrections to the existing bylaws.
Yes.
Could you please explain that to me? What is a minor?
Well, if you see on page 1, section 2E, it says planning controls, and it should be land use division. And if you see in section 4A, applicants desiring to have a subdivision plat and/or development plan, we have added for public input only, because you no longer make any decisions on development plans. And then further down there, we say we have removed the word recommendations for development plans and put in a public hearing for public input only, which is what you now do. And then on item 5D, there was basically just a word missed out in the sentence. The word notification was omitted.
I got you.
So, you know, and then at the end, you know, we've got a change to the date of adoption, a change to the chairperson, a change to the notary.
Yeah.
So these are the just corrections that we wish to make.
I see. I see what you're saying now. Okay.
On section 4A, it also refers to plats or development plan. We're still gonna vote on the plats, aren't we?
Yes.
But we
Well,
don't on
applicants,
development plan.
applicants desiring to have a subdivision plat and/or a development plan for public input only. So they're 2 separate things.
A couple of months ago, we discussed for public hearing that we would have the presenter or the developer here.
Yeah.
Did that get added?
That's being added to the application form, yeah.
Okay, good.
And it's also gonna say that if they are not present to present their request, staff has the right to delay it.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
But there's no telephone calls to somebody to get a vote.
There's no
No,
No telephone calls.
No, not at all.
Well, I hate that.
That's against the law.
I hate that.
Any further questions from the planning commission?
And just to clarify here, you know, at the very least tonight, if we can get items 1 and 3 approved, regardless if you want amended wording to the second part, we can bring that back to you. But on the other hand, if you're happy with all 3, just include all 3 in your motion.
Any questions from the audience? Motion's in order.
Move to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Wait a minute, are we approving all 3? Are we approving 1 and 3? Are we approving 2 and 3?
My motion is to approve all 3.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
7,
Thank you.
All those opposed?
1, motion passes.
Thank you. Everybody have a happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Adjourn.